What if I told you that I sleep better now with two babies than I ever did with one? Hi, my name is Lydia. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to give you a glimpse into our daily rhythms and routines and share 5 tips on toddler and baby sleep that have helped improve the quality of our family sleep exponentially. These tips and routines can really benefit anyone with small children, but I think you might find this especially helpful if you, like me, also have 2 under 2. Before we dive in, I want to give you some perspective into my style so that you can kind of glean how these tips might work for you and your family. So I consider myself a mindful mama. I practice conscious and responsive parenting. I exclusively breastfeed, and we do not sleep train. The biggest misconception that I've seen in the culture of raising small children is the idea that babies are supposed to be sleeping through the night. And if they aren't, then you're doing something wrong. I'm here to tell you that this is incorrect. There is nothing wrong with you or your baby if they don't sleep through the night. In fact, it is biologically normal for babies to wake up multiple times per night. And this can be extremely challenging. Like, this will really test you as a parent, especially if you have a baby who is high needs, like my first, with who I did not sleep more than 3 hours at a time for the first 16 months of her life. And it was at this time where my husband and I put our heads together and began reading because we knew we needed to change things fast. I had just landed a new job and I was already 8 months pregnant with my second. So we were on a time crunch because in just a few weeks, we were going to become a family of 4, and I hadn't slept in over a year. The first thing we did was move our toddler to her own room for the night. Since she was born, she had been sleeping in our room, so this was definitely a transition. I started by, spending more and more time in her designated room as a playroom first for about 2 weeks before actually moving her there to sleep at night. I also put her down for naps during the day in that room before we transitioned her to bedtime. We had learned that even at 16 months, breastfed babies, as long as they're in proximity to the mother, especially at night, they will still be able to smell that milk and they will get up to drink the milk. So putting in that separation would allow her body to sleep longer because it wasn't frequently picking up those hormones that my body was releasing. And this helped almost immediately. Within days, she was sleeping to the 4-hour mark. The second thing we did to improve sleep was we started the night weaning process. Up until that point, I had still breastfed her on demand day or night. She did not take a bottle, and she also could not drink milk. She has some dairy sensitivity. It wasn't a cow's milk protein intolerance, but for some reason, milk never settled well with her. And I do think that that was one of the reasons why she would still wake up more frequently than others, because she was still hungry. She wanted that milk. So I continued to breastfeed her. But at 16 months, I was tired. Additionally, around this time, I noticed that her sensitivity was starting to improve. She was able to have cheese. She was able to have Greek yogurt, heavy cream. She just couldn't have direct milk. So I felt comfortable pulling back on the nursing at night and adding in more dairy to her diet during the day. Up until this time, I had done every milk feed 24/7. It was just me. And also, I know I suffered now from a little bit of postpartum anxiety because I felt like I was the only one who could do anything for her, and I would not allow my husband to help. But now that I was pregnant with my second baby, I really needed a break, and I allowed myself to let my husband help me. There was definitely a period of adjustment. It took some time for my toddler to get comfortable with the fact that dad is here to put her back to sleep. And there were plenty of times where I had to come and I had to support her. I had to breastfeed her back. But over time, she did eventually become more and more comfortable with dad there at night. And I'm just glad that I did this. I think we started technically when she was about 15 and a half months, but I'm just glad that I started this with plenty of time before my second baby came, because if we would have put all of this on her at once, I'm not sure any of us would have survived. The fourth change we implemented, and single-handedly one of the most beneficial things, was increasing the outdoor time for our family. When my second was around 4 months old, I remember things becoming pretty difficult. I was already back at work. My baby was sleeping less now, so they were awake more during the day. They were starting to wake up more during the nights. I was getting less sleep, and I was just feeling overwhelmed. And I noticed that the more time that I spent outside, the better I felt, the calmer I felt, the more peaceful my children were, the happier they were. It was just so beneficial on every level for our family to be outside. I also noticed that my babies were sleeping a lot better. They would fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. They would wake up in a better mood. Everything about their sleep quality improved, and the only difference was that we were spending more and more time out of doors. I figured this couldn't be a coincidence, so I did some reading about it, and I learned that exposure to different types of sun throughout the day, like morning sun and evening sun, can help the body to calibrate the circadian rhythms, which is the system that is in charge of sleep. Ever since then, I make it a priority to get my babies out in the early morning sunshine, because it helps to signal their bodies it's time to wake up, it's time to play, it's time to be active. And in the evening, I make sure they're out a little bit before sunset so they get bathed in that nice warm glow, that yellow light, to help their body to wind down and signal that it is almost time for bed. Increasing the amount of time my family spends outdoors has had a monumentally positive impact in almost every area of our daily lives. We've gotten so much more quality time together. We've learned new skills like gardening, participate in new activities like outdoor yoga, and it's even opened up a whole new world of education for the early years with Charlotte Mason. But out of all these amazing benefits, I have been most surprised by how key outdoor time has been to improving the quality of our sleep. And really, every benefit that I shared with you today is going to have a positive impact on the quality of your baby's sleep and your sleep in some way. Making the effort to give your babies exposure to that morning and evening sun every day, or committing to at least one outdoor nap, is going to have a faster, more immediate effect on the quality of sleep. Whereas transitioning your toddler gently into their own room may take additional time, maybe even the help of a partner, and is more of a long-term solution. But where I think the magic truly happens is when you find that perfect set, that combination of them all. Go ahead and try it. Let me know how it goes. If you found this video helpful, subscribe. I could talk about life with littles forever. Wishing you a restful night of sleep and all my love. Lydia.